and welcome to Quantum Conversations. My name is Steph Warner, and I am a quantum living advocate for AOScan technology by Solex. Today, I have a very special guest, and trust me when I say you are going to want to stick around for this whole interview. Joining me is Alice Jerahian. She is a scientist and a quantum healing advocate whose passion involves integrative healing methods for today's modern illnesses. But this wasn't always her focus. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree in England and further enhanced her education in aerospace engineering and advanced systems analysis with a lengthy tenure in the aerospace industry on planetary exploration missions. Her experience is literally out of this world. She later turned her passion into studying various healing methods, ranging from Chinese, integrative, orthomolecular, homeopathic, and energy medicine, with a great focus on alternative healing modalities using homeopathy, nutritional supplementation, bioresonance feedback, and advanced brain neurogenesis approaches. Alice has repeatedly proven within the fields of healing and perseverance that the knowledge she's acquired over decades outweighs any physician's classic medical textbook knowledge. While her passion is to keep her family healthy, it is also to inspire others to take charge of their well-being and encourage them towards a mindset shift for a healthy lifestyle while maintaining a balanced integrity of their mind, body, and soul. And thanks to the efforts of this former rocket scientist turned homeopathy expert, we now have access to over 300 homeopathy frequencies in our AOScan database. So welcome, Alice, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Steph. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, it is a joy, and we have a lot to cover today, so I'm just going to dive right in. I have found that every great practitioner in the alternative healing space has some sort of an origin story of how they arrived here. So can you share a little bit about how and why you made that transition from aerospace engineering to homeopathy and frequency technology?
Well, I can use one word, family. That's where it always starts. Now, my passion has always lied within science and medicine. And having done a very good part of my passion in the aerospace industry, I then turned it into studying and learning about all sorts of medicine that I can utilize in raising my children and keeping my family healthy. While I was studying Chinese medicine or orthomolecular, and one of the passions being energy medicine as well, I realized homeopathy, which is a system of medicine on its own, was kind of always in the back burner because people kind of were not exposed to it so much. So I gave myself a challenge and I delved into it and started attending telemedicine lectures and courses and any which way I can get as much information, buying all the books that I thought I could dig myself into, and started collecting a lot of information. I started using it for my family. You start with a little bit of little ailments here and there, you know, the flu, the cold, fever, and so on. And then you gradually get into some acute and then chronic. All of a sudden you see you've got all this knowledge base, which brings me here today with you, Steph.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I think a lot of us start off that way, that there's some issue that comes up and we want to dig a little bit deeper. And then it takes us sort of down a rabbit hole and opens us up to a whole other world of opportunities in the wellness space.
And you always want to do better when it comes to health. I mean, I keep telling myself, I wish I knew then what I know now. I think like everyone else, we've all been through doctors, hospitals, antibiotics, and drugs. Until I hit myself straight, I go, no, this has got to change. And then now with my granddaughter in the picture and a grandson coming, I really have to shift it. And I did. And now I'd like to instill that passion into others so I can encourage that mindset shift into others and feeling comfortable and not being intimidated into getting into it.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So I actually don't know. How were you first introduced to the AO scan and what was your initial impression?
Well, I've always loved energy medicine, electromagnetic field, electromagnetic frequencies. Um, and it just so happened a few years back, my son and daughter-in-law happened to go to a spa in Malibu and get this treatment and come home. And my son, knowing how much I love things like that, he said, Mom, you would love to get this machine. And I think he was talking about the Hunter NLS machine, the big $5,000 one. And I figured, okay, let me look into it. I started looking into the functions, the what it offers. And I always wanted things with chakras and meridians and homeopathic remedies. I go, oh, okay, and this looks cool. But then all of a sudden, I found that there is a handheld military grade device out there that does the same thing at a fraction of the price. So I didn't even think twice. I purchased it, and that's where my journey began with AOScan. And then developing what I did with my homeopathy knowledge is why I'm here today. And I can tell you that these two entities work synergistically together. And I feel blessed, and I hope everyone else feels blessed as well.
Oh, yes, we do. We are so grateful for this database that we have on the AO scan now. But for those who may not be as familiar with homeopathy, people who this is kind of a subject that they maybe have heard of, but they don't really understand it yet. Can you briefly explain how are traditional homeopathy remedies made, like the kind that you can buy at the store?
Okay, so homeopathy is a system of medicine on its own. And we know it has a unique dilution process sourced from plants, animals, minerals, um, as well as infected tissues, the nosodes. And then what is left after multiple nth level of dilutions, we are left with the energy frequency blueprint within that medicine that we call remedy. So this process allows the mechanism in detecting and healing the root cause of the conditions that are triggered in the body, which also encompasses all the cells in our body that vibrate at a different frequency. Now, we don't have to remember the frequency numbers. Thank God the AO scan does that with its algorithms and mathematical codes. But we do know at a higher level that if someone has a chronic condition, that frequency is going to be at a very, very low number. Say cancer, you're going to be at 20s or 10s. And if you have an acute condition, that frequency number is going to be at a higher number. But that's not our job to learn. But that's what it does. The frequency blueprint is what allows us, when we ingest the physical remedy or run an AO scan remedy, that it's transmitting and we're ingesting the frequency, and it triggers the paramount symptom and looks for the paramount symptom in the body so that it can start healing. Now, it searches for the pathological pathways, which is a collective cause and pattern, the cause being what triggers a condition, and the pattern being how is it manifested in the body as a symptom, which I talk a lot about this in my course at Solex University online. But we must realize that before that physical condition progresses in the body, it is imperative for homeopathy to reverse and heal the mind where the condition has already begun. Now, let's remember that when our body feels depleted, and I'm talking beyond being tired, this depletion is at the level of the vital force, two words known in homeopathy, which is the energy essence in the body. And again, this encompasses all the cells in our body. So again, we go down to cellular level, and that's how deep homeopathy goes.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I personally have been using homeopathy for years. I love it. And I've never really understood how it works. So thank you for sharing with that. It really is like the frequency, the electron sharing from the plant, the animal, the mineral, whatever it is, into like a water and alcohol tincture or a sugar pellet. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And there are various forms with which you can use the sugar pellet or the water dose, which we can get into in a little bit as we talk about some comparisons between the AO technology and homeopathy working hand in hand.
Right. Yeah. So you worked side by side with Loran, the founder of
Did.
Solex,
And I
and the
love.
Solex team to bring an expanded and enhanced version of the homeopathy program to our database. Can you share a little bit about what that process was like and how did you find all of the best homeopathy in the world so that they would be selected and included in the database?
Well, we had to start with the most common ones, and we also wanted to capture those that at least target both acute and chronic. We wanted to include cell salts because we know cell salts are the building blocks of our tissues and cells. We need them on a daily basis. We wanted to include nosodes, which come from infectious tissues from humans and animals, and those can be used to treat acute and chronic conditions. Although we have a lot more to go, but where we are now allows us with the opportunity to use them hand in hand with the ailment frequencies that the AO scanner has. So if someone has to prepare a playlist, say for a neck pain or a headache, they can also now add and incorporate the remedies, homeopathic remedies that they know will also help along with that. And they're both dealing with the cellular frequencies at that level. I
Awesome.
was very, very proud that when Loran reached out to me, and I go, "Oh my God, I'm on top of the world here. I can now share, and I can now pass on what I know." And he was very eager to incorporate it. And I'm also very happy to say that he even went further when he found out about my homeopathy by symptoms ebook to put in a condensed version in the scanner where one can actually go and click on a symptom and run the scan of the remedies, the possible remedies applicable to that symptom, like muscle testing. It'll sort it out for you and you can do it.
Yes, it saves so much time and
Yes.
effort and takes the guesswork out of it. I love the search by symptom
Yeah.
category, and I also love that I can do it however I want. I can add just a specific homeopathy, like I'm very familiar with Arnica montana. I know that's going
Right.
to help with headaches and aches and pains and bruises, and so I can just do that one. Or
Right.
if my child is having a symptom that I don't really know which homeopathy is going
Where
to
to
work,
start?
I can
Exactly.
search by that, and then it
Right.
will bring up the ones that are most in resonance with them.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's amazing, and just to be
Yes.
able to have this at home or in your practice is unbelievable. It's really cool. So, what is the difference then? Is there any between a homeopathy that you buy at a store, imprinted into sugar pellets, and now what you can create using the AO scan?
Okay, so before we get into that, I'd like to mention that both the AO technology and homeopathy, they deal with correcting the electrical potential in the body. We know that our mind is all energy, more than molecular. And again, the cells in the body vibrate at different frequencies, correct? So let's use an example here. And I'll have two separate examples. Let's go with, say, one is administered or takes or put estrogen on an estrogen receptor. Okay. We know that it'll have an effect, right? But if you had the frequency of estrogen transmitted to that same estrogen receptor, you'll have 10 times greater effect than the molecule on the receptor.
Wow.
It is. Now, another example to get back to answering your question, water dosing with homeopathy and frequency dosing with AO scan versus, say, putting an ointment on your skin. Now, the approach to the first two may be different, but when we put physical remedies in a glass of water, and in the other, using the remedy frequency from the scanner to imprint into a glass water. But the difference here between the wet dose and the ointment is that the ointment will take about 20, 25 minutes, let's say, to penetrate into the several layers of your skin, right? But with the water dosing, you imprinted remedies, right, into this glass of water using the AO technology. This water will now change the electrical components with frequencies then that was ingested into your bloodstream directly. So it has an effect. That's why we know, and there have been studies to prove, that homeopathy frequencies actually alter your DNA. They regenerate your DNA in a good way, in a positive way.
Oh, wow. And we are so inundated with energy and frequencies all around us now that are having the opposite effect on our DNA and breaking it down in negative ways. And so we need to introduce these supportive frequencies that are going to retrain our DNA to optimize themselves at higher levels. Would you say that's right?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. I mean, it comes back to awareness. You have a family, I have a family, we all have families. If we are made aware of our surrounding or our environment, we can't blame everything on genetics. Sorry. I know for a fact that may play only 3%. The rest is epigenetics. Our lifestyle factors and environment have a great impact on how we progress in life. So I can't say it's genetic. I will say it's epigenetics. If I did my homework right, I wouldn't fall into bad epigenetics. So using both the AO scan with the frequencies embedded in there and the homeopathic remedy frequencies embedded in there will give us all the opportunity to imprint, whether it's water, whether it's a Cepheid dot that the AO scan has. You can do both. I've been asked the question, physical remedy versus AO scan. You can do both. I've done both. I will run the frequency dosing for several hours. If I see I needed the physical, I will run to my library and get the physical remedy and ingest that, and then work for it to do its magic. But it will go down to its cellular level. Now, there may be a time where well, this remedy is supposed to be for this symptom, but it's not doing anything. Well, we should be grateful that that particular remedy did not work, because homeopathy is doing its job in trying to find another paramount symptom in your body that it's trying to work unbeknownst to you what that was.
Yes.
And for me, that's not magical. That's just energy medicine within the electromagnetic frequency field.
Yeah, the energy works for you.
Yeah.
And it takes all of the thought and the thinking and the analytical out of it, and it just does what it needs to, and your body either uses it or it doesn't.
Yeah. And as I mentioned before, that it all starts with the mind. We've got to encompass the emotions, the mental, before it progresses into a physical manifestation. Now, that's easier said than done. But if we write our thoughts down, if we think of what triggers these emotional imbalances, then we know how to target those with the remedies and go down line by line, whichever symptom matches ours.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say a debate, but just a conversation going on among QLAs and users of the AO scan. Typically with a homeopathy remedy that you buy at the store, you will see different potency or dilution levels on the label, like 6C or 30C. With the AO scan, you take a vial of sugar pellets and place it on the device and tap imprint, and then the imprinted frequency goes into those sugar pellets. So are we able to create different potency levels by imprinting for longer periods of time, or is that even necessary?
This is quite controversial. I might get tomatoes on my face right now, But no, potencies are not important. Our body is meant to heal. And how does it do that? It'll adapt. With the frequency, it doesn't care about the potency. With the frequency, it knows where it's targeting. It knows that it searches for its pathology. Whether you take a 3 or a 6 or a 12 or a 200, I've never used any of those. Anytime I buy a physical remedy, I've always bought the 200s. I know there are mega potencies. I know you're supposed to do 1Ms, 10Ms. Yeah. I don't want to confuse myself with it. I'll buy the 200s if I needed to, and I'll count on the AO scanner to do its job into allowing those frequencies to be transmitted into me and let the body adapt to the right potency. Yes. No, you don't have to worry about that. And to me, that's a great luxury. That is a great luxury. Because then you'll hear comments about, well, 1M was too much. Shall I go down to the... Why put yourself through it? I know homeopathy is trial and error, but for crying out loud, if we can avoid some of those trial and errors and just leave remedy functions to their job based on the correct symptom indications or keynotes, then we're on the right path. And that's why I am giving this power. We are giving this power. Both Loran and I want to make sure that with the AO scan and the homeopathic remedies embedded in the AO scan, you'll have this power in your hand. And it's very easy. Hence the course, hence the ebook. Because if, like you said, if your child is sick, do you have time to think what remedies you need to go? No, you can just go to the ebook and click on it and find, okay, here are the remedies. Oh, wait. This remedy says I should have this symptom. Then it's easy. I'll pick that one. You don't have to memorize them. I mean, over time, some of the common ones you would have already memorized after you start journaling. Your child A has this, and I use this. Child B has this, because each child or each person has unique needs for the remedies. One remedy might work for child A, but that same remedy may not work for child B for that same system. Pathology is different. DNA is different. They're both unique.
Yes. And that has always felt like truth to me, because I saw somebody ask that question in one of the Solex groups about potency levels and can we do that with the AO scan? And what just came to me was like, it's the frequency. Just let the frequency do its job. And we don't need to overthink and overcomplicate it. Just let it be.
And that's a problem. If you overthink it, then you're going to get confused. Then you're going to get fearful or intimidated, or you're going to ask so many questions that you go, okay, what was I intending with it? We don't want that. We don't want that. I do know that a lot of people ask, well, how do I imprint if I want to see? I think there's a table that I may have shared, imprinting for 20 minutes. You get, do yourself a favor. Let your body do its own healing. Let the frequencies be transmitted and embedded in your body and do its own healing.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what it was meant to do.
So you've been doing this for a long time and you've been using the AO scan. I would love to know if you have a testimonial that you can share of how it has helped you or someone that you know.
Well, let's see. Several testimonials. I'll start with myself. I've always had, I have degenerative bone disease. So I would have been bedridden by now with the slightest movement. I would be in bed for many, many weeks and taking a lot of medications. But then having learned homeopathy, I used the remedies that my body needed, some like hypericum and some phytum or roostox and calc phos. Those helped me a great deal. Of course, I had to take them for a long period of time, say 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks, before I realized that my back was no longer in a suppressed mode of pain with every movement. Now, if my back pain comes, then I take them, but they disappear very quickly. So the turnaround time becomes shorter and shorter. That's why we say match the frequency of the remedy with the intensity of the symptom. Because some people ask, well, how long should I take a remedy. Well, you know what? If you're in pain, take it every 5 minutes and know there's no drug interaction and you're fine, no side effects. And that's another beauty of it.
Yeah.
Take it as many times as you need it. So match the frequency of the dose with the intensity of the symptom. And then when you see your symptoms, have become bearable, then reduce the frequency to say 2-3 times a day. And then slowly, if you feel, I don't feel it anymore, you stop. Most of these remedies are not to be used prophylactically on a daily basis, like vitamins or supplements.
Right.
They're to be used when a symptom manifests itself. And you have to read in my ebook what those symptom keynotes are or the indications are and pick the remedy accordingly.
Yeah. Wonderful. And I can't wait to dive into your ebook. We're going to do that here in a little bit. One thing I want to touch on, people may or may not be aware of the interesting things that are happening in the US with homeopathy regards to our ability to access these remedies. I don't want to go into the details of that, but in your personal opinion, how do you think the AO scan will impact the future of homeopathy and the alternative wellness industry?
It will have an enormous impact where we don't need to purchase physical remedies anymore. We are way ahead. AO scan technology is way ahead. And I assure you, before everything halts as far as purchases in the US, both Laura and I will make sure we'll have quite a number of homeopathic remedies added in there. Wonderful. To help benefit us. We don't have to worry. We don't have to worry.
I believe it.
And we feel blessed.
Yes.
That I must say.
Yes. 100%, more than that. Okay, so how do you believe the homeopathy program can enhance a practitioner's ability to help their clients and also improve their business overall?
Well, if a practitioner is looking into an integrative method of healing, then they will welcome homeopathy. If they're not skeptical, and there are a lot of skeptics out there who think this is just a placebo effect, but it's not. And unfortunately, they talk about that under the name of science, which again, shouldn't be. So if the practitioner is open to integrative healing method, homeopathy is one of them. But the practitioner has to also be astute. And that's where my ebook comes in handy as well, because I doubt the practitioner would have memorized every remedy out there. That's why I encourage through my course and my ebook in saying, don't be fearful. You can be a homeopath too, your own homeopath. You can search what remedies you need. And there are a lot of online materia medicas, the homeopathic dictionaries out there, to dig even deeper past the remedy names to see if they really suit you or not. We all are homeopaths when we learn this system of medicine. Nothing fearful. Yes, trial and error, but that's okay. Nothing devastating, nothing harmful like drug medications. So we can do it. And so can practitioners.
Yes. And one of the ways that we explain AO scan to people when they're like, well, what is this? Especially if they've never heard of anything like this before, is that it's a tool to help you put your health back into your hands. It is literally a handheld wellness center at the tap of a button that you can be in charge of your health. And now when you have a database like the homeopathy database, you can understand yourself better. You can be better educated. You can become the expert, and you no longer have to rely on people every single day or different tests. There's a time and a place for that, but just the power that it gives you to be informed and have everything that you need to take care of yourself.
Exactly. And you said the right words. You have the power in your own hands, both with the AO scan technology and the ebook in your hand, because now you have the ability to do your own search, you come up with your own remedies based on the symptom keynotes and administer them right away.
Yes.
But the key part of that is also journaling. Just like when we run scans, vitals or comps, and then we get database report, we have to do our own journaling. You do your own filtering. You develop a spreadsheet. You write what's what, and then you take notes. And those notes will become in handy when you know you're dealing with your common symptoms, and then you just gradually become more empowered with this knowledge, and you can become a homeopath. No different than having a license. Trust me. Trust me.
Yeah, I believe it.
Trust me on that.
I love it. Well, let's go ahead and dive into this. Everyone is raving about Alice's course that she created for Solex through Solex University and the ebook that comes along with it. So why don't you show us a little sneak peek of what it looks like and how people can be applying this in their own life?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. So let me get to my screen right now. Let's take a look at a sneak peek. Okay. So here we have homeopathy by symptoms, which I call it advanced integration of data from multiple sources. You have a table of contents. You've got some supportive tips in the beginning, dosing rule, some symbols that's used in homeopathy. If you want to get into advanced mode, got some how to antidote a bad drug, which I thought is critical. If somebody feels they took a remedy and had a negative reaction, this is how to quickly antidote it. Quick look on some COVID symptoms, which had been lingering on for the past few years due to the pandemic. And then you start the table of contents in alphabetical order. These are listed as conditions. And under each condition, say, we want acne, for example, you will click on acne and you will get a whole list of information and remedies under acne. This is the condition. And then you'll find some links that I incorporated in there for further research. You'll have symptoms, say, here is a remedy with the symptom being pigmented acne scars, or serenum for acne scars on dirty face. So within this condition, these will be the symptoms or the symptom indications for the remedy to select from. And then you have various subconditions under acne, say fats and acne, or cystic acne, hormonal acne, acne vulgaris, teenage acne, and so forth.
Wow, this is so comprehensive. This is amazing.
Yes.
I know this is going to become like the book that I am always referring to in my household for everything that comes up. And now we no longer have to Google the resources and try to find them, but this is just right here at our fingertips. This is amazing. And how much time and effort it took you to put this together.
Yes. And the best part, Steph, that this is a living document. It's an evolving document. These conditions, although, you know, this is like 250 pages or so, will continue to grow. The more I learn about conditions, some I may never have heard of, I will incorporate it in here. God forbid that one will need that, but it's in there for anyone who may need it at a later date. And you said it, it is very comprehensive, and it is one of its kind. It is one of its kind where it has all the remedies under conditions, and the conditions have the specific symptoms associated with that particular condition.
Wow. It's just wonderful. And I feel so grateful that we have access to this because of the AOScan. And thank you to Solex for allowing you to set up this course for us so that we can learn more about it. This is incredible.
So now, if we're okay with time, I do get a lot of questions in how to select the appropriate remedy. Well, it takes a bit of knowledge because it's art, and an art that you're going to excel in and you're going to develop into it with the knowledge you have in your hands. So I have here two conditions. One is an insect bite that's caused by an infected mosquito. And this particular insect bite causes the chikungunya virus. And within this condition of an insect bite, you have several remedies: Polyporus panicola, Rustox, Bryonia, Eupatorium, Merxol, and Gelsemium. Now, before I delve into explaining, one thing to remember is each remedy in homeopathy can heal multiple ailments. You may find Arsenicum album is #1 for food poisoning, but you may also find that Arsenicum album is #1 for anxiety due to uncertainty or purpose in life. So you see, that's why we can't say, oh, just go take this and you're done. Symptom keynotes are important. So in this first example, I underlined Rustox and Bryonia to show you the specific notes or indications of these remedies according to the symptoms that you're having. Do you have a fever with joint pains, and is it better with motion? If it is, then Rustox is your remedy. If you have a fever with joint pains, but your joint pain is worse with motion due to this virus, then your remedy is not Rustox, it's Bryonia. Do you see what I mean by symptom keynote or indication of the remedy?
Yeah, I love the specificity and how many layers you can go down with homeopathy in pinpointing those differences. And I found, just doing my own research and playing around with it, it's so specific. And I was picking some homeopathy remedies for my daughter recently, and it was describing her to a T. And it was so wonderful that I found these 3 or 4 that was like, this is her. Oh my goodness, this is her. Oh my goodness, this is her. And I was able to create this remedy for her, and it helped her immediately.
There you go.
Amazing.
There you go. Exactly. And when you're on the right track, you'll know that the remedy is doing its job. And we're pretty lucky when that happens. And then if it doesn't, you'll know you'll move on to the next one and the next one. There's always a line 1, line 2, line 3 until you get to it, and you will get to it. Now, with the second example here, to select 2 remedies with what might look like they have similar symptoms. So under gums or bleeding gums, I've highlighted in red 2 remedies where the symptoms or the symptom indication may sound the same: bleeding gums from inflammation or bleeding gums upon cleaning teeth. Well, which one do I choose? Is it creosotum or carbo-veg? So this is where there's some responsibility on the person or the reader to go digging deep on the online materia medica, which I do all the time. We have to do, because there are areas, for example, if you look up on online materia medica by William Barrick, and if you look up carbo-veg, remember, this is to determine which one should I be taking, carbo-veg or creosotum for the bleeding gum. You'll find under carbo-veg that there are additional keynote symptoms here, with the mouth where the tongue coated white or yellow-brown, the nose has varicose veins on it, or the stomach is tense from flatulence with pain, worse lying down. Now, does this describe you further? Then you can have carbo-veg. If you look up creosotum, along with bleeding gums from inflammation, you'll find the mouth has dark teeth and crumbly, the nose has offensive smell and discharge, and the eyelids are red and swollen. Now, is this you? Then in this case, for bleeding gum, creosotum is your remedy. And these are the 2 that I wanted to share in order to ease everyone's mind in which remedy do I select.
Yes. Yeah. And you have the option of going and doing your own research so that you can educate yourself using this ebook that Alice has created and taking her course. But to simplify it even further, the homeopathy program does have a scan option. So when you select a specific symptom, let's say it is for acne, and a bunch of homeopathy remedies come up on the list, you then tap scan, and whichever one of those is most in resonance with you, they'll rearrange in the list
Yes.
in order of importance.
I tell you, muscle testing.
Yes,
Electronic
it
muscle
is.
testing. Can't
And
get
it
any
only
better.
takes like 3 to 5 seconds
Few
for that
seconds, exactly. Few seconds.
to
Yep.
happen. This is amazing. I'm so grateful we were able to chat today and for you to be able to share all of this with us. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to share before we close out.
Um, Empowerment. I'd love to empower everyone with this knowledge in the palm of our hands, in our homes, to help with your family. It's not intimidating at all. But yes, as you mentioned, we have the onus. The onus is on us in order to do our own research, in order to further develop our knowledge and come up with your own journal that will help you and your family. And if you have any questions, please don't be fearful. Ask. No question is silly. Just ask it and we'll have the answers for you.
Yes. And thank you so much, Alice, for sharing your wisdom, your heart, and your work with us. Homeopathy is just one of the many programs included with the AO scan, but it is making a huge impact in people's lives. So thank you for everything you have contributed to help bring this powerful tool to life. And if you want to learn more from Alice, you can find her on Facebook at Quantum Agape. If you already have an AO scan, definitely enroll in her Solex University course, Leap of Homeopathy. You will be so glad that you did. All of Alice's links can be found in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to check out all the links below to learn more about AO scan technology. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you, Steph. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.